Well, guys, as I mentioned before, it is time once again to hit the off-road indoor carpet scene, and hopefully things go better for me than last time, because I think I can count on one finger, maybe two, the times that I did not finish last. But I think with all of the stuff I've learned in oval and throttle control and steering and all that stuff, that I believe we can make a run for it. So we're going to build us up my B6.4 again with a lot of modifications. Let's talk about it right now here on the channel. I'm Chad. This is the Dorky and 40 RC channel. We're going to make you faster today. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Super happy that you're here on the channel. Thanks again for all of the lasting support, even for you people that are just here for me and not drag videos. So what I plan on doing, this is going to be like maybe a 3-part series like this, just going over all like what we're going to do. Part 2, maybe some insight while I'm building it, and part 3, of course, is just how the thing actually runs and performs. So I have ran a 6.4 in carpet, and you know, it felt better than my 6.3. Bigger shocks, everybody knows all the differences and all that kind of stuff. So I have a little bit of experience with it, but as you know, I've got a lot more actual like on-track experience now. So I have taken all of the information that I can like basically gather from all of the big name AE people and all the people on YouTube and the forums and everything else, and all the things that you're supposed to do to these cars that can probably make them better for anybody, way better than you can get out of the box. So we're gonna go over some of the parts here and some of the modifications we're gonna do. And again, like I said, it will show you in the upcoming videos. So the first thing is, this is the actual dirt length chassis. So it's shorter than the actual carpet version that you will get. And it's obviously going to decrease the wheelbase, make the car a little bit more nimble, a little bit more lighter, and a little bit more reactionary. And it seems to be the preferred setup overseas, and actually by last I could tell Spencer Rivkin and some of the other AE drivers, they just basically like the way that it works on carpet with the shorter chassis. So that's all you really need. So you could basically pick up a dirt kit and then like your diff and stuff and be okay, because it comes with a ball diff, not a gear diff. Or if you already got a 6.4 and you want to try things out and all this miraculously works, then the dirt chassis is what you need. And you know, depending upon where you run, you might need a shorter chassis protector or whatever. So that is cue number 1. Now, everything else, of course, in really no particular order, we'll just kind of continue on with the chassis, is going to be all the carbon stuff. So we're going to be running 21.5 just stock, and the tracks around here are kind of short, so we can get away with running 21.5 in 17.5 just stock classes as well. So getting this stuff as light as possible is going to help us. So we've got things like carbon arms, carbon for the battery, we've got carbon side rails. This is a really important piece. This is the actual carbon infused transmission and waterfall brace and stuff. I put this on my stock 17.5 car over there. I thought the moldings would be a little bit better, but they still seem to be about the same quality. So this is one important thing that we're going to be talking about down the road, as far as getting our Driveline as free as possible as we can. So we've got carbon hubs, some more arms, motor plate, and of course the servo topper. So a lot of things, a lot of cheap things, a lot of it adds up and everything. And of course, you don't need to do all this to yours, but this is just a culmination of everything once again. So speaking of Driveline, we've got things like slipper eliminator. Of course, we've got a Hyperglide bearing kit, or whatever ceramic bearing kit is your favor. And then of course, to make things lighter, we've got an upper titanium screw set as well. Can't believe how light that is, even in the package. So that, of course, is going to make a big difference for us. The shocks on the 6.4 are another thing. So right off the bat, pistons are pretty much what everybody says that you need to change in order to make the box stock 13 millimeters work a lot better. So 3 holes, 1.6s and 1.7s. You can go with 1.5s or whatever and get yourself a drill kit and drill them out if you want to. you know, they sell all these machined, like, you know, you can just get them in whatever sizes you want now. The other thing that really helps out the shocks is the machine's shock spacer kit. Instead of using the plastic molded ones that come in the box, these machine spacers and stuff are going to make your shocks work a lot better. And I've got 2 sets here because I'm actually going to do the same thing on my 17.5 street stock. We've got titanium lower shock mounts for both cars, of course, the buggy and the street stock. And then we've got some of the J-Concepts titanium shock standoffs. I've got them for the rear, and they don't really have them in stock right now for the front. And of course, that's just going to be more weight savings to lower the center of gravity. And, you know, if anything about buggies, that's, you know, pretty much one of the necessities and main things that we want to try to do is to lower that CG as much as possible and lower our unsprung weight. Another big thing when it comes to saving weight is going to be titanium turnbuckles. Now, the factory team ones will also made it up to work with the 3.5 millimeter turnbuckles that actually come in the truck kit. So these are a little bit bigger, but they weigh less than what the steel ones that come with it. And the turnbuckles, of course, got a little bit more meat. And I just have some extra washers here. Not sure why I had those paired with that, but it is what it is. Now we've got all kinds of different, you know, weight saving stuff here. We've got front axles, aluminum button wings, aluminum button head screws. We've got the aluminum front bulkhead at 0 degrees. I'm still trying to figure out what caster I'm going to run. You know, that's one big thing is the kick up on these is a lot lower. So you can definitely kind of play with that a little bit to either make the car turn less or more for yourself. The aluminum diff cover, I got 2 of these so I can do again in my 17.5 street stock. This, along with a little bit of grease on top of your gear diff, will save any leaking at all. It'll just be perfect. The steering rack for the 6.4 is a little bit different, so we had to get that. There's another aluminum diff cap right there, and then this is the rear ball stud mount that already has 2 millimeters of rise built into it, because typically you'll stack 2 2mm ball stud spacers in the back there, and this way you only have to worry about putting 1, so that's less stuff to fall on the floor. Finally, part of freeing up the drivetrain and everything is just going to be some ultralight pinions, and I'm going to try out some of these that are pretty interesting, and some are a mix again for both of my carpet cars. We've got some of the Trinity ultralight pinions, of course, that are just super light, and then we've got some of these JK plastic pinions. I wanted to try the hybrid ones that are a mix of plastic and aluminum in certain spots, but those are all on back order, so they must be pretty popular. So we have a complete selection of pinions here, of course, that will allow us to get an even lighter, hopefully freer moving drivetrain. And we've got things like the short receiver, and then we've got things, of course, like our small receiver. We've got, you know, a short, low profile servo. I forgot to mention the actual front bulkhead ball stud mount here. And then we'll be basically, a lot of people are talking about that in order to increase the steering and make this thing just, the B6.4 just work even better, is that you actually end up removing some material on the front ball stud mounts, like 1 millimeter or 2 millimeter, and don't put any ball stud mounts and drop that down even more to give you some more steering. And we also have a few more parts that are coming in. We've got some shim kits and stuff to tighten everything up and to shim out our diff and everything to help make the transmissions spin a lot smoother. And then we've got titanium ball studs coming as well. So we're going to be doing a lot to this, and you know, it was definitely a bit of an investment, but the good thing about these things is that if you're serious about racing, this is a one-time spend and you get all the stuff that you need. I already had the kit, so I didn't have to worry about that. I just had to actually buy the chassis, so that was a good thing. I already own the servo, I already own the receiver, everything like that. So I got about $600 in parts to rebuild all this thing back up, and it'll be better than any 6.3 or 6.4 buggy that I have raced in the past. So now we just got to hope that the driver can like come through on that, right? And that's the plan. So we will see you guys in the next video when we start building this thing and putting things together, and I will show you even more of the tips and tricks that they have been talking about all over the internet, cool things to do with their shocks, all that kind of stuff, just everything. And hopefully it all works out and I have just the ultimate driving experience and we can get ourselves on a podium finally in off-road buggy racing. Peace.